What's up, guys? We are Past the Pop Culture. My name is Ricky with my co host, Fen.
Yup.
And today is season 2, episode 5, and it is kind of like another follow up to our other NFT podcast episode that we did a while back. It seems like a lot more has developed in terms of NFTs and how much they're going to go and I guess kind of shake up like the gaming community. Really, I mean, it's not just like the AAA companies or anything, because this affects everybody in gaming, I guess, now at this point, right?
Yeah. Sadly.
So yeah, we're just mainly going to be talking about NFTs in gaming. Also give a little review of Vampire Survivors, and yeah, I think that's pretty much our main topics for today. So I think the first thing I want to get into is that, and this happened some time ago. It happened back in January, but I learned about this recently,
Hmm.
and I still think it's relevant. So Konami sold NFTs for celebrating Castlevania's 35th anniversary, and so it's I don't know, man. You saw the NFTs, man. They're These things are ranging from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars for basically a 2 minute snippet of a let's play that you can get off of YouTube. Deathless let's play, a deathless let's play. That's kind of hard to say, but yeah, like it's just them beating a boss or them walking around. You get Dracula's castle, and like you can just, I mean, when you're playing the game, just screenshot it. Just like
Screen record it.
yeah, like you can just. Oh, I'm not saying you should use emulators. I'm just saying if you were to use one, you can technically screen record, just screenshot it, and then just make that your background, which would be kind of cool. I'm pretty sure if you just go on to like whatever wallpaper website or Google it, you can just easily make a wallpaper. But the point being is like this wasn't really like cool stuff that they were like, I don't know, like it just kind of was like, well, I don't know. It just kind of, I don't know. I don't really think. Of course, it was done to make a quick buck. And I know this is kind of like a little bit old news, so I don't want to stay too much on it.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I just,
Like, why though?
what have they done with Castlevania? They put out a mobile game that I found out about recently.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they put out a collector's edition for their, the anniversary, and of course the NFT project, but it was just for some money. Like they haven't really done it. I'm not a huge Castlevania fan. I recently just got into the series. I'm playing the first one, and I get my butt kicked a lot, kind of stuck, but that's besides the point. And I don't know, I just don't think like seeing this, it seems like it's more just like they're just gonna get greedier and greedier with the NFTs.
Right.
It was kind of seemed like low effort to me. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just they screen recorded some gameplay, threw it up, and they're like, here. Yeah, they had some like old art and like the map. The map I thought was cool. Like I would like that in real life to put that up on my wall, not like a digital asset, I guess. And the little cube things, like you can look it up on. They're on Konami's website. If you look up the Konami Castlevania NFTs, you can pretty much find
Yeah, an
the
auction house or
website.
whatever.
Yeah, and like the cube thing is kind of cool, and I think, well, that would have been cool like in real life.
Mm-hmm.
You had a little cube and it would play like this gameplay or something, or there were like pixel cutouts, like the ones you see like on Etsy or something, like, okay, that's cool. But it's just like, I don't know.
But see,
It's
okay,
like
this is my question about this. What's the difference
mhm.
between you buying some useless digital whatever when they could be
Mhm.
selling like collector's items that actually have like
Yeah,
real life value to that you can actually
quote
have in
unquote.
your in your room. Like
Yeah,
why can't we
like you're
why
saying, like a figurine
yeah,
of
or
like
like
Simon
like
versus
everything's
like,
collector edition, or like the one NFT that I said that's like, wait, they have a digital image of a poster with the border.
yeah.
Like, why can't they sell that for like, I don't know, $100 in real life?
Well, of course they're not going to make as much money and stuff like that, but it just, I don't know. I feel like it's just we're going to see this a little bit more often. It does seem like a lot of gamers are pushing back on it. It does seem like a lot of people, the vast majority of people, it's pretty unpopular. Of course, there's still going to be a handful of people My thing with NFTs is I think it'd be fairly fine if people weren't trying to push it as like something more than what it really is.
Mm-hmm.
If this was like, oh, for 5 cents you can like pick it up, you know, like sometimes like on Steam where it's like, oh, download the wallpaper for like 2.99. It's like that's fine. But the idea of like it's yours only and it's like it's not really true. It's like it's we are you
I
know, it's
okay.
the
So like the
NFT
whole
thing.
like yeah, but the whole like oh it's mine only. It's like no, it's not. Somebody just put it on wallpaper engine. What's it?
Yeah, like it's gonna be up on Wallpaper Engine. Like you
Yeah.
don't own the image. Now, like I think something would have been cool is if they made like the NES, they just printed up some new NES ones and they have some sort of like I don't know, digital code on them so that you can have it like run on your like PS4 or something. You know, you just download it from like the store and you
I
just
mean
get
that
the
would make
code or
sense.
something. Like then that'd be kind of cool. You get like a little commemorative like NES, you know, cart, and then there's just I don't know, like done something physical. Like that would have been kind of cool. Um, but yeah, it's to me, I think it was just more of a money grab, and it's kind of sad because now we've kind of have like Castlevania in a lot of these classic series. You know, Konami is just in general not really been doing too hot
Mm-hmm.
in the eyes of the public. They had that football game where it was just horrendous. Like there was bugs, and they just kept monetizing the heck out of it. They recently put out that was it Master Duels, that Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duels game.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's right.
I
Yeah.
played it. I played it. It's pretty good. It's uh, it's pretty much like how you would play the tabletop, you know, version.
Mm-hmm.
And because I know they had Duel Links before, and I played that a lot. Um, and
Also, they are
then
different.
they are different
Okay.
because the Duel Links is like the fast version.
Mm-hmm.
There's less life points, I believe. I'm not sure. I haven't played in like a year or two. And then like you only get 3 slots instead of 5 for like the
Okay.
spells and monsters, and there's a few different changes. But it's not that bad of a game. And it's probably the only game Konami's come out with that's like half decent. But people are still complaining that you don't get enough gems. It's not very
Pay
easy
to
to
win.
play free to play. It's very yeah,
Yeah.
pay to win. And so it just seems like they're kind of just trying to grab money, but they keep losing the favor of its
I,
consumers, and it's kind of sad. I don't. I think most people or most companies are going into the NFT game not. Just to get a quick buck. I guess
I
like
know,
it's
but why? I just don't understand the concept of that. Like Konami is doing fine money wise. They make really good video games, so it's like, why do they need to do this like pointless NFT thing? Like,
it's just money wise, and I think it's just them being kind of greedy. But like, because we had like Worms, the company behind that, Team 17, they're trying to make Worms NFTs. It's called Meta Worms, and the backlash behind that was so tremendous. They're getting rid of it. They decided to drop it. The idea, and at least they were willing to be like, oh, okay, guys, we're gonna listen to the fans and not do it. I mean, they knew they would get this kind of backlash, right? Like you've seen
yeah,
it, like Ubisoft, uh, Square Enix. You know, they've all
everybody.
gone bashed. Yeah, like nobody wants NFTs, and it's just it's like my problem with NFTs more is that there's like these crazy amount like of exuberant prices, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna have to pay a lot of money just to get a digital asset. I wouldn't care if, like I said, if it's like 5 cents, 10 cents, a couple bucks, like I wouldn't be so heated about it. But when you're forcing people to pay hundreds, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars
Mm-hmm.
for an asset that may just go to zero, it's kind of a lot to ask for the average player. And I think the problem is that a lot of these games will just end up uh, you're trying to play to make money, and I don't know. I don't think it's a good direction for games to go into, especially with how egregious the monetization policies of a lot of these game companies have been recently, with
Mm-hmm.
loot boxes and basically gambling mechanics into the game. Trying to get they basically try to get these kids to swipe their parents' credit card. Figuratively, but to get the money out of them, to buy all the V bucks or whatever.
Do you think this is
And
like
it's
a
just
legal way of gambling, like
it
selling an
wouldn't be
asset?
it wouldn't be gambling necessarily. Because it would be like, if it would be different if it's like a slot machine mechanic, and then you get the NFT or something like that, like a random NFT. Then yes,
Hmm.
but this is just more speculative. Ooh, can't talk. But it's speculative markets that are essentially, that's what like the NFTs are. It's just all speculation. Nobody really knows if these things are going to hold value. It's fine if someone makes a cool little picture and you want to own it and you want to support the creator of it, and you pay a couple bucks. That's fine. But I think um
$300,000, like.
yeah, because I've looked into like kind of like the space. I don't really know too much about it, and I
Hmm.
think it's interesting. I think there's good points in it. The problem is that a lot of people in here are just trying to make a quick buck, which is fine as long as you're honest about it. But it's a kind of like the problem with like trying to collect retro games right now. A bunch of people would try. I'm not sure if you heard about this, but people were upselling retro games. So like, let's say I'd sell, the Legend of Zelda, right? The first
Right.
one.
Right.
And I sold that to you for, let's say I bought it for $10, right? In
Hmm.
some garage sale. I sell it to you for 60, right? So then after that, I buy it again for 90. Then you buy it for like 120. And then they post it for 90
Hmm.
or $100, and they go, "Oh, this game was $120, now it's 100. I'm getting it for a steal." And then they go buy it, and then some third person, some who doesn't know any better, or they just are in on the scam, I guess, and then they just keep shuffling these things around, and of course you get your money because you sell it to somebody who's not part of the scheme. And then so these retro games are selling for exuberant prices. I mean, if you go on eBay and stuff like that, it's like a stupid amount of money, and that you have to pay to find
And
like
these
the
aren't
old
for like
Metroid.
mint condition. There's just like
No,
regular.
no, yeah. Like they're not collector's edition or
Oh,
anything.
really?
Sometimes there's like unsealed boxes and stuff. Then I can kind of get the premise, but like because I've been trying to look into trying to get like a retro game collection, and it's just like, man, like
That's
because
expensive.
most games are at the price of or near of buying a new game.
Hmm.
It depends. You can go like look around for people who are just trying to get rid of them. But if
Hmm.
you're trying to actually get like any
A decent one.
and, yeah, like you're probably gonna have to spend a pretty penny, and it's kind of sad because it's like it makes games inaccessible. And I bring that up because I'm worried that at one point NFTs are gonna make games inaccessible, because I just, if you have to get the NFTs to play the game, and then it's just you got to
Mm.
spend more money to go in, because there's certain things like weapons and stuff like that. Like, well, if you want to get better weapons, you can either grind it out, but you can just buy it with some like Ethereum or something, and then
Oh,
attach it to your character and then just play it. I don't know. I mean, of course, there's probably gonna be people to disagree with that and stuff, and maybe it doesn't work that way. But I wouldn't be surprised if they found some way to like just egregiously monetize the NFTs into the game, so that you have to buy them and you have to play it and you have to, and then the prices are just going to go up, up, and up. and,
that's
and then
not
at one
good.
point it's just, I don't know. I That's what I think would happen. I'm probably wrong on that, but I just don't
I
really
don't think
see
so.
like NFTs being integrated in a positive way. I know some people are like, oh, you just collect different things or whatever, and it's like, oh, you get to own it. It's like a badge or something. Like, that's fine. It's just as long as they don't become an intricate part of the game. Because there's a game. I brought it up before. Oh, man, but I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, you have to buy into the game, and you have to spend thousands of dollars just to buy the little characters just to get started. It is, you can play to earn and stuff like that, and but it's so expensive to the point. There's scholarship programs to help new players
Oh
get
yeah,
in.
Albion or whatever. No, I'll. I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
stupid though. That's not
And,
gonna work because that's like what kind of Diablo 3 did when it first came out. People could use real money to buy items,
oh, Axie
and
Infinity.
yeah, there you go.
That's what
And
it's
so and
called.
so in Diablo, when they would use real money to buy things, people were making like bank because they would hold a legendary and like auction it. That's like basically an NFT.
Yeah, and that's my worry, is that well, it could inadvertently kind of like lead to something like that, depending on certain games. Of course, it's going to be the people who are early adopters that are going to make money, and of course, yes, you do make money. People make a couple $100 or whatever off of it, so you do have to put money down. But at this point, unless you've already been in it and were early to it, newcomers like myself who were just like, I thought it was a cool game, and I thought, oh, okay, kind of experiment, do a little video on it,
Mm-hmm.
just to check it out, because it has to do with games, and it was just inaccessible for the most part.
Yikes.
I was not. I mean, if I had the money to just spend thousands on it just to like do a little video on it, sure, but I don't have that kind of money to just like, oh yeah, let me just spend a couple $100 and
We don't have that
like just
luxury
to get
yet.
this one character, yeah. And so, I don't know. It's a weird way. Um, I guess not a weird way, but it's a weird direction I think games will end up taking if NFTs get adopted. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think that things are going to go well, but for the most part, it
Eh.
just kind of seems like, I don't know. I think for now, until I would wait before until like NFTs and all that stuff becomes a little bit more mature,
Mm-hmm.
before we get like mainstream adoption, in any form. And even then, because like I don't, nobody really understands or knows how it works. Like the average person doesn't know about cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
let alone NFTs,
But it's
and stuff
interesting
like
that
that.
like big video game companies are like adapting to this like instantly. Like cryptocurrency, they're like
It's
maybe, but like NFTs is like, oh, here we
mhm.
go. It's like instant, and it's like why? I guess
Yeah.
because it is
I mean,
instant cash, right?
yeah, it's instant cash, and I don't see a problem with them going like, "Oh, we accept Bitcoin if you want to pay for it in Bitcoin,"
Mm-hmm.
because it's instant as well. So if
Mm-hmm.
you have a Bitcoin wallet, like I don't see the problem with that, or like penny arcades, where like you just pay like a penny's worth
Yeah.
of crypto to play a game or something. I don't really care about that.
But see,
I
like,
don't think
why
that's a
are companies not
problem.
doing more of that? You know, like, what's the
I
difference?
think because I think the difference is because the NFTs you can get a lot more people in on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes more money versus
Right.
like, oh yeah, like I have this little like online arcade. It costs is like a nickel to play a game or whatever. It's a little bit harder of a sell.
Hmm.
Um,
I guess, yeah.
so I don't know. Like, maybe no one's done it or whatever, but because I've thought about doing something like that. Like, it's just a penny to play, and you get access to a bunch of games and stuff like that, and you get a bunch of
Let
tokens.
me see,
I've
like,
thought
that's
about
cool.
that. Like, that'd be
Like,
kind of
there's even
cool.
claw games where you spend real money and then you do it from like your home.
Yeah, and
Like, I
that
don't
and that
know.
I don't
Why aren't those more popular? But fake
I
art.
don't I don't know. I mean, yeah, I like to give NFTs a hard time, and I don't really fully understand it. And to be quite honest, I just don't think really anybody understands it unless you're actually working on the blockchain. If you're actually like a programmer who's working on the stuff, then I think outside of that, most people don't really understand or like how it works.
I mean, I
Because
guess
even
the neutral side would be like, well, if you're willing to spend, thousands of dollars on a collector's edition of XYZ, why not spend $1,000 on a collector's digital art? So I guess people
mhm.
can view it that way, but
I mean, yeah, like
I
there's
don't
a
know.
lot of artists who've like made a lot of money,
Hmm.
in order to support themselves. You see it all the time. Like, oh, artists made $100,000 because they sold their NFT, an NFT of their art or whatever. And like that's cool and that's fine, but that's not the average person. The average person, because I've looked into getting like into that stuff just to make a quick buck myself, because I'm like, shoot, all these people, I'm like, might as well look into it because it's just out of curiosity.
Hmm.
But because I like tech, and I program and stuff like that. So the um, the gas fees. I mean, it's like you have to be willing to sell your NFT for a couple $100 just to
Hmm.
cover the gas fee. I mean, you can technically put it up,
What
and
do you
then
mean
when
by like
someone
gas
buys it,
fee?
so a gas fee is basically the transaction fee. Just think of that. Like, how when like you swipe your card, like,
Oh,
and like,
okay. I
and
was like, what
then
is this polluting
sometimes,
the world?
yeah, actually, there is that concern of like pollution and stuff like that, which I don't see it as very valid, because I think if it's more of a, yes, it will pollute, and because it uses a lot of electricity. But if we're being honest, if people are just using that as a thing to tack onto it, to kind of be like, oh, you
Okay.
see, NFTs suck, more than like, because if we actually cared, we
Okay.
would not watch Netflix. We would not be, we wouldn't be on the podcast right now using the electricity, right? Like, it's a thing that people are just adding on. I feel like for the moral superiority of it, when there is a real issue with that, but I think it's like,
I have no
like
idea.
it's one of those things where it's like, because there's like proof of stake, and stuff like that, which helps consume less electricity and stuff like that,
Okay.
and stuff like that. So basically, uh, proof of stake is that uh, you buy like so many coins, right? And
Uh-huh.
then you get like, or like when you leave your money in a bank, right? And
Right.
then you get a little bit of interest. That's
Hmm.
essentially what kind of happens. You get interest on it. There's more to it than that, and that's like a kind of like a basic way if someone doesn't really know what proof of stake is. And then there's proof of work, which is like how a lot of Bitcoin and all that stuff is.
Hmm.
And I believe Ethereum's still proof of work. It's essentially like you run your computer and it does all the transactions and stuff like that, and then you get paid for
Yeah, that's
being
definitely out
a
of my
part of the
pay grade.
transaction. Yeah, but yeah, and that's a very poor explanation. But but that's like the easiest way I can kind of explain
It
it
still
because I
sounds stupid
myself
to
am
me.
not 100%. But yeah, but
Sorry.
yeah, like there's I don't know. I don't really see it being a big thing. But I hope that we can kind of come to at least some sort of conclusion with NFTs in general and how it should be treated in gaming. And I think just for the most part, I for myself would like it that it just stays out until the market's matured and that we
Hmm.
fully understand. And the average, because the problem is that NFTs can become kind of predatory towards people who don't really know how it works. And so like you didn't know what gas fees were. And so like let's say you're playing a card game that gives
Uh-huh.
out NFTs, but you have to pay the gas fee. And then it's like I don't know how it would work. I'm assuming that's something like that. Like I'm assuming the company themselves is not going to cover the gas fee, and that because since you're making the transaction, I don't really know. I don't know,
How
but
does
I'm
this even
assuming like
start?
you'd have to end up paying it. I don't really know. I mean, I'm pretty sure someone can explain kind of like how it works.
Like, who's the
But
person that
I can,
started this? Find that guy.
um, I don't know. I mean, that's a history lesson right there, and I don't really even know. Um, that would
Like,
be a lot of research. But yeah,
like,
I don't know. It's I mean, if someone has like a good reason why they would have NFTs in games, as long as you're not like going crazy in the comments, I'd actually really like to know why you think it'd be a
yeah.
positive thing.
Let us know in the
Cuz
comments
I'm
why it's good.
yeah, cuz like I'm open to the idea of it. I just think that like I want to understand. I think that's where I'm at. I want to understand because I think it's kind of cool from like what I understand of the very little amount that I do. But I'm not a hard no person. But I'm not like oh yeah NFTs are super great man. I think I'm kind of like I'm curious. I need to learn more before I can come to a conclusion. But from what I understand, I kind of don't want it in gaming because I feel like it can be used
So like,
uh,
uh, I'm just
poorly.
asking questions that are coming up, but like, so you buy a digital art, whatever. Say you buy the three hundred thousand
Yeah.
dollar Konami thing, and you accidentally like delete it. Like, what happens?
I don't think you can delete it. You see,
So,
I don't even know that part. Like, I
so
think
oh
it
okay,
just
like
exists on the blockchain, from what I understand, and it's like an address to it. There's like I don't
in the
know.
Matrix or
There's like
what?
yeah, pretty,
Like
I don't
I'm
know.
sorry, like I
Yeah,
just don't understand the point
yeah.
of
I
NFTs.
don't fully understand it because, like, for myself, I looked into it lightly. I wouldn't be able to answer all those questions,
I don't
but
know.
just it's just kind of like the way that a lot of these companies like Konami, Ubisoft, EA, the
Hmm.
way they've been going at it seems to be anti-consumer, and that's
Hmm.
why I don't really like it. It's not necessarily I'm against the technology or whatever. Like if you want to have like your board apes, whatever yacht club or whatever it's called, the yeah, it's like the board ape. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
the
whatever.
monkeys.
But
Yeah,
the like personally, the art triggers me because it's just like
I could do better.
it's bad. It's bad. Like it's not very good. These things are ugly, and I like ugly art. The problem is that it's computer generated. There's an uncanny valley effect to it. I think that's what it is because
Interesting.
it's art, but it's not really art because it's digitally done in like a way where it's just like it's not natural, like to how like someone would make an actual piece of art. Like can only be done through algorithm. I think that's what it is or something. It has to be because it's just like there's something just so like ugh about a lot of NFT art. But
But so
there's
like
still
okay,
some really cool stuff though.
so can we technically like get our Halo clip and then sell that as an NFT?
Yeah, I guess.
Interesting. But
I
I don't know.
don't know if anyone would buy it. That's the thing.
I mean, we got some pretty fire clips, but that's biased. I don't know. What does itch.io have to say about this?
So yeah, but of course, since we're all talking about the game still, man, that was a long little rant. But so on itch.io, if you guys don't know about it, it is a basically an indie game marketplace and hosts tons of like game jams. So you go on there and there's a lot of people. You can host your own game jam, and it's and oh well. First, to explain a game jam. So essentially, what a game jam is that it's essentially a little event, online where people make games around surrounding a theme or an idea, or they just make a game, typically and in a lot of time. Sometimes it's a week, couple weeks, a day, um, however they want to do it. The theme can be apples, and you have to try to do it in 2 days. And so they host a lot of that kind of stuff, which is cool. I would always recommend to, like, if you're into uh making games as like a hobby, or you're just interested in seeing like what indie developers are coming up with, you get to see a lot of early prototypes of games that go on to be popular.
Hmm.
I believe Hollow Knight was part of a game jam, or the ideas that started
I didn't know that.
in what would be known as Hollow Knight was part of a game jam. The creators, like Celeste, was in like Pico 8, the it's a game engine, and I think they did it for like a game jam. I'm not entirely sure about that, but there's like been a few
Hmm.
games here and there that you'll see that are indie titles, like I think like Baba Is You, I think, is another one that started as an indie title. So they're cool ways to find games and to see what other people are coming up with, and then also to kind of challenge yourself if you're into making games. But that's neither here nor there, I guess, really. But itch.io, there's a lot of cool stuff, and I like them. I host my own little stuff on there when I make little games and stuff. But the main thing that I bring them up is because they are, of course, a marketplace, and they came out and they basically took a dump on NFTs. They said it's stupid. You can look up the tweet, but I'm not. I didn't even think about quote tweeting, or not quote tweeting it, getting the quote so that we can read it directly. But basically, um, they
It's
just
good
said they
mouse.
didn't like it. They think it's dumb. But I think it's interesting because they are a marketplace, and so it seems like the marketplace to even sell that, they would not even touch NFTs, nor are it seems like they're going to host games that are going to have NFTs. And so I bring this up because it is it's big yet small. I don't know how to word it. Like, there's hundreds of thousands of people that follow them and use them and stuff. Uh, but I would like to see how this, if there's any ripple effect in terms of other marketplaces for games to come out and say, no, we are not going to sell games that have, uh, I guess, NFTs in them,
NFTs, right?
or blockchain elements, or I don't know how you would word it. But because I think that'd be interesting, because we're going to see this in the future where the marketplace is going to have to decide, uh, you know, if people are going to buy games with NFTs in them or not, because
Mm-hmm.
they may just be dead on arrival. And then game companies are going to pivot and go, oh, okay, yeah, no, we're haha, no, that
JK.
was just a little experiment, oopsies. Kind of like, the Xbox Connect and like the PlayStation, like
Oh.
the Move stuff and all that. Remember that dark time in
Oh.
gaming history where it was like everyone
Now I
was trying to be
remember.
the Wii? Everyone was trying to be the Wii, and
Oh.
then of course the stuff didn't sell, so they stopped doing it. Right? So it's like, if it didn't sell, no one bought it, so they just didn't keep doing it, and that's what probably will end up happening. But I think it'd be interesting to see if somebody like Steam or even the Epic Store come out and say that we will not host these games if they have NFTs in them. I think that would be very interesting because they hold a lot. They hold a lot of power.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's that middleman. There always has to be that middleman. Of course, they can, like Ubisoft can sell it on their own website, but
Who goes
the
there?
last time I mean, no one's really buying from the website directly. People are getting it off of Steam or
Mm-hmm.
Epic, or the PlayStation Store. It'd be interesting to see like Sony or even Microsoft kind of make a statement whether or not they're going to allow these kind of games, or for their even the
Marketplace.
companies that they own, like Bungie. I'm pretty sure, you know, dude. I swear, I'm calling it out. Bungie's gonna make an NFT game under Sony. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding. Could you
shut
imagine
down
that?
Bungie.
If I make that call, man,
Give us a call,
we
Bungie.
have
We'll
to
tell you
remember
what to
that.
do. First,
Yeah,
uninstall
no, but
Destiny 2 from your servers. Anyway, go.
yeah, first
Make it.
close
Hey, there you
the
go. Shut
Destiny
down the
2
servers.
servers.
Yeah, shut down your servers and make that an NFT.
Yeah,
There you go. You're welcome.
my
$1 million
gosh,
idea.
but yeah, I think it's very interesting because you're gonna see more and more division. I think when it comes to gaming
Mm-hmm.
on things like NFT, and because we've been fighting the fight on just even monetization in general, how
Mm-hmm.
games have been monetizing, and we've kind of been winning. And then it felt like NFTs came out of nowhere, and they're like, haha, we can use this now. And now it seems like there's just another thing we have to fight. I just really wish if Steam would just come out and be like, no, don't do
What did
this.
they have to lose? Like, if they say
Money.
no, that's it. Like, I don't know.
I
I
mean,
feel
I
like as
mean,
a
I mean, I
creator, I'd be like,
guess
all right, I'll
like
just take it out. I don't know. But
I mean, like if you're a small indie dev, then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna have to listen and not make our little NFT game,
mm-hmm.
because a lot of the NFT games are just like they're ripped assets from like the Unity asset store, and then they just
Mm-hmm.
plop them in, and then they steal the code
Ooh,
online, and then they
drama.
just like, well, it's not stealing, it's copying and pasting, but everyone does it. But I'm just being hyperbolic. But the point being is, you just get some code, and blah blah blah, you add it in, and then you just make the game. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a big deal. Um, and I don't know. I like, yeah, you'd have to take down your game, but I don't know how big publishers like if Ubisoft would be like, oh no, we're just not going to put our games on Steam. I don't think Steam is going to lose all that much money if they're like, oh no, you can't put your Ubisoft games on our platform anymore.
We can't have
Wow,
FIFA
oh
on
no.
Steam. Ah,
And
that's
then,
too
yeah,
bad.
and they're going to be crying with their like $1 million bills and stuff like that. So I think it'd be nice if Steam kind of comes out because I think they could kind of. I think if anybody has the weight behind him to do that, it would be Steam or somebody like Microsoft or Sony
Yeah,
to
like the
come out
Game
and just be
Pass and
like,
stuff.
no,
And
like none of our none of the companies we own, game companies we own, we're gonna allow them to make NFT games. That's our promise to you as developers and creators and blah blah blah. And they all say nope, we're not gonna do it. I think that's the best way to kind of shut it down. But I don't think there's really going to be anything to do that. I don't think there's enough. I think it's just more like keyboard warrior stuff, whether
yeah,
NFT
but like
should
it'll
be
be
in or
interesting
not.
to see since everyone's so fixated on like the NFTs. Like, are people gonna be like, oh, let's jack up their microtransactions? Let's throw all this junk in here because NFTs are a scam. And now everybody's like, oh, we're okay with microtransactions now. Like, I wonder if that's gonna change like that
Yeah,
market.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Because then it's like the soft expectations kind of thing where it's
Yeah.
like, well, at least they're just microtransactions and not
Yeah,
forcing us to buy NFTs
exactly.
to like play their game
I
or
guess I'll
something.
buy that skin, or I'll guess I'll buy the
Yeah,
battle pass.
I
Like,
mean,
I
it's
wonder
just I
where
don't
that
know.
divide's gonna happen. I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna happen. It's either like, hey, do you want the NFTs or do you want microtransactions? Which one's the worst
Yeah,
evil?
I think that's what might end up happening because then like the worst of the bunch is gonna be like, no, we're not gonna do that, but they keep the microtransactions, but they look good temporarily.
Yeah,
So who knows? Maybe some of these companies are just taking one for the team to try to get into NFTs, and then all the other bad companies be
exactly.
like, oh, we're not gonna do
Yeah,
that.
FIFA in
No,
the
no,
background is
we're
like
gonna be.
cha-ching. Come buy our
Yeah.
card packs in the video game, please.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah.
Man, we're
Um.
we're gonna be canceled. That's what's gonna happen.
Watch, like, yeah, we're gonna have the NFT bros really debate us on this one, but it's fine. So after all this kind of bad news and everything, NFTs are still an if.
They're a scam.
Um, yeah, and indie is still king. I think.
Yeah,
I
that
think
like
that's all I have to
that's
say.
we have like
Indie is still
notes, and
king.
like after reading all these notes, it's like indie games, like it's a big thing now. Like, I'm
And
glad
it's
itch.io is saying something about NFTs, and they're like
yeah,
all indie developers, and I feel like the
yeah.
indie developers are the true
Uh-huh.
video game community.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's where the real heart and soul lies in that.
Hmm.
But like itch.io, like they allow you to host their games pretty much for free. You can
Mm-hmm.
choose how much like their cut. They allow you to choose. Oh, do you want us to give us 30 or 20 or 10 or 0? I think even you can probably do.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it goes down to like 10 at least. Like you can like they're pretty generous. Like as far as like middlemen go for trying to like distribute your games, they're not that bad. They're actually, I would say that I don't know how Steam does it, but I know that it's a little bit more difficult to get your game up on. Well, it used to be more difficult to get your game up on Steam, but it just they take a bigger cut, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
from Steam
They give you a
versus like
chance.
something like Itch, and like with Itch, it's just you just put the game up. That's it. There's
Yep.
like they trust the developers to be like, okay, yeah, here you go. Put up your game. It's not like and yeah, that means that a lot of garbage will probably end up on the site if more and more people use it, but it seems to be a place more of that, just people who like games,
Mm-hmm.
and just indie game lovers, they go on there. But yeah, so to finally get into Vampire Survivors, because we are talking about Itch. So Vampire Survivors, if you haven't heard about it, is basically a, I guess, Castlevania inspired, like,
Survival wave simulator.
yeah, like enemy
RPG.
wave fighting game, like bullet hell mechanics, as in like things are just everywhere. There's a bunch of enemies and stuff like that. It's hard to explain, but yes, it is like once you see it and you play it, it is very much Castlevania inspired. They wear it as a proud badge, which I don't see anything wrong with that. A lot, like, you see like the cross and a lot of
Yeah.
stuff's pretty much taken directly from it. But it's a really cool game. So it's been interesting though, because it has over 30,000 reviews
It's a
on
lot.
Steam alone. Overwhelmingly positive as well. The game, it's like $3, $2.99. It's If
I
you
bought
want to
it.
check it out, you can play the free version on Itch. Just look up Vampire Survivors, and you can just play it in the web. You don't even have to download it, and that's how I played it at first.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's pretty fun. Um, I have to not play it anymore though. That's the thing, because I got a little addicted to it, and I'm like, all right, because I was gonna like get out my credit like card and like buy it, and I'm like, no, because I'm gonna play this for like a stupid amount of time, and I'm not gonna like have a life, and so I'm like, oh,
I bought
but
that
I'll
thing.
probably buy it. Yeah, like, dude, I'll probably end up buying it, but I ended up playing it for like the rest of the night, and I was like, oh shoot, and like, oh man, I gotta
Yeah.
go to bed. And like it's pretty addicting once you get into it. Because when I
Mm-hmm.
first started playing it, I don't know about you, but I was kind of like, oh well, this is kind of it. And I'm like, okay.
Really?
And then I started like leveling up, and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, I get it now. Because I was just kind of like, well, wait, what do I do? And then I was like I kind of felt like I was just plopped in there, and I was like, oh. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And then I was like, okay. And then I
Yeah.
enjoy the game.
I'm a sucker for like these games. Like, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
usually don't buy them because they're like $30. But like
Mm-hmm.
you told me to play it and it was free, and I was like, yep, I'm buying it. So like after 2 rounds, I bought it for like $2.99, and then like
Yeah.
I was playing it, and then I told Mercedes to try it, and then she played it longer than me. So it's like, it's a really, it's a really good game. It's a very simple
It's
yet
it's
difficult concept.
it's simple in terms of its execution.
Hmm.
What it requires you to do is just, hey, survive as long as possible. But it gets complex, as in you're making different builds, different
Hmm.
weapons, the way you maneuver around the enemies and try to corral them. I think the best way is that it gives the satisfaction of like corralling the zombies when you
Hmm.
were playing like Black Ops 2 or something. And then you would
Exactly.
corral the zombies, and then you would like destroy all of them.
Yep.
And then like with a machine gun, and just like spray them all down, and then it gives you the satisfaction of like picking up a bunch of items and leveling up and
Yep.
grinding it out. That's pretty much what it gives you, and then it gives it to you in like 10-20 minutes, if you can even survive that long,
Not me.
increments. And then so the longest I went was like 22-23 minutes
Holy
actually.
cow! Really?
Yeah,
What
I
the?
went that far, but I had like an amazing godlike run on that one, which was amazing. And I got lazy and I didn't pay attention, and then I got myself killed. But that's a different thing right there. I
22
got off track.
minutes? Dang.
Yeah, and
All right.
so the game's only like half an hour long. I believe that's as far as you can get before like just everything starts one-shotting you basically. Um, or there's some sort of like, I'm not sure if there's like a proper end game, but everyone says it's like 30 minutes, but you do multiple runs. It's a fun little game. Just check it out on itch. It's called
Mm-hmm.
Vampire Survivors. Pretty much everyone's talking about it, but I wanted to talk about this because the all-time peak of players was 61,000 plus.
That's a lot.
61,000 plus players at one time at its peak. And people were saying that was more than what Battlefield 1 had.
Yep. That's more than
Like the
New
amount of people
World.
that are playing this game right now, there's more people playing this little indie game, this $2.99 indie game, than people are playing like something like Battlefield on Steam. So it's just very interesting because it seems like we are getting into like a sort of era where indie is king, because we had a very rough patch in the early parts of like when indie games, like remember like the whole Steam greenlight and a bunch of trash was getting through.
Oh, that's
There
right.
still is. And
That's
like,
still
a
around.
bunch of indie games were basically just scams and stuff like that. And I don't know. It's like it seems like indie has kind of formed into a better, and it's in a better state now. And I feel like we can trust them a little bit more because
And
like
it's
people
cheaper.
were like, you remember like all the GoFundMe or not GoFundMe's
The
Kickstarters?
Kickstarters, yeah.
Yeah, the Kickstarters were basically like half of them are all scams for the games, and there's still like a problem here or there that will occur, but for the most part, it seems like indie is in a good state right now.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Especially with this one.
yeah, it's pretty. It's still in early access. They plan on like adding stuff to it. The dude's a millionaire at this point, so I mean,
I mean, he deserves it. Like, this game is so good. Like, I could literally, I play
yeah,
with the controller. I don't know if you play with the controller, but it's like literally you just move
I
around with the
played with my
joystick.
mouse keyboard. Yeah,
That's it. Just one joystick. That's it. And like the kind of what I really appreciate is like one of the first like reviews is from a disabled person, and he's like,
yes, you read that one.
I
Okay,
really, and like when he read, like when I read it, he's like, I'm so happy, like I can actually play this game, and it's like it's so simple, and like so fun, and
uh,
it's like I was like, man, that hit like a
yeah,
heartstring for me, and I'm happy,
I
like
almost shed like a manly tear for
yeah,
that
I'm
one
like
because that was like, dang.
developer, you're the
I
best.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? And because we forget about it, man, like, games should be accessible to
Hmm.
everybody as much as possible. And I do think it's important to try to create
Hmm.
a good enough space where anybody can just play games. Like, I think that's important. Like, it's, yeah, like,
And to
and it's
make
just,
it fun, like
yeah, and it's fun. Yeah, but yeah, because that's what video games are. They're
yeah,
they're supposed to be fun. And this game, um while yeah, like I don't like, it doesn't have like, oh, the most craziest graphics ever, or like the most over elaborate like
it doesn't need it.
plot or gameplay. It's short, sweet, and fun. It gets to the point.
Hmm.
And it's a short game. It's like half an hour you do each run. And these are the kind of games I've been talking about. Like we need to make more of. Like
Yep,
when I
I
played
agree.
like Kirby on
Hmm.
the Game Boy, I was like, you know what? Like this being like half an hour to an hour. I don't remember how long the game was. Just like a short, quick, fun little adventure. You can play through it multiple times. Like these are the kind of games we should still be making.
Yep.
It's like games that are just like, and $2.99, bro. Like yeah, he could have tried to sell it for 15 or whatever. But $2.99, like it's a steal. It's
He's
the
very
guy,
generous for
yeah,
that.
very generous. He probably didn't even think all these people were gonna buy it.
Hmm.
Um, and he just made a little hit right there, right? And yeah, I don't think games need to have like 100-hour long campaign and
Hmm.
like this over bloated, open world that there's like nothing on the map.
Yep.
And it's just I think we need a return to form in a way where we focus on like the fun aspect. and,
Exactly.
and it's hard because what might turn off a lot of people is the graphics, right? There's not a lot going on in terms of like animation and stuff like that. They just move towards you, and of course there is like a little, there's a lot that will eventually go on, but like at the very beginning you're just kind of like, oh, okay, like
Killing two
it's
bats.
just yeah, like, and it's like tiled. The bats kind of do like a little animation, but
Hmm.
I don't care. Like the
Yeah,
graphics for me are fine, and I think they're actually kind of charming for the kind of game that it is. I
it
do
fits it
like it
like
a lot.
perfectly. Yeah.
It fits it, yeah, it fits it very well.
If somebody is
And
giving this a negative review because of the graphics,
yeah,
like, don't play games. They're probably complaining about
yeah,
Pokemon Legends Arceus graphics too. So it's like, don't play these
and
games.
it's just yeah, and it's just like to me, it's just like I like ugly games. Pixel
Yeah,
games are like my favorite. I really like it, and yeah, I mean for me, this is like a 9 out of 10.
like,
Eight and a
yeah. See,
half,
that's
nine.
like, that's what I mean. I'm happy for it, but it also makes me mad. It's like, this $3 game is so good. The gameplay loop is perfect. The mechanics are like really good. The natural
Hmm.
progression is like spot on. Like, it makes you want to play it more. Like, if you die, you're not like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to play anymore. It's like, oh, I died. I just unlocked even more items. Cause like, I
Hmm.
don't know if it's on the demo or not, but like, the more you play it, the more you unlock. And so like, on the
Yeah.
next run, you're like, oh, this is a new item. Oh, here, this is gonna help me.
Or you
So
get a
it's
new
like, it makes you
character,
want to play.
or you get enough gold, and so you upgrade yourself
Yeah,
so that you can get a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, and
exactly.
it's fun. It's a fun little game, and it's like, man, the thing is, like something like this, you wouldn't get a triple A studio to make a game like this. That's
Which
the
is
only thing, because this game
stupid.
is made out of passion. This game is made out of passion. For the
Mm,
price point, most triple A studios wouldn't be able to do this. But I think there should just be like, I don't know, because like even if you look back at old games, like from the NES era, like some of the games were just like 8-man teams. Like
mm-hmm,
I think like Nintendo just would have like just a handful of people make a game,
mm-hmm.
like and stuff like that, and it was just cool. Like, but now you need like hundreds of people, just to make and just any plain Jane JRPG or something, and it's just, and not to talk smack on like modern games, but it's just sometimes it's just this, like it's
Yeah.
just a
Like,
game. It's a game.
name
Like I don't
name
know
a
how to word
game.
it.
Yeah,
Like it's just a
name a
game.
game that is this good with the natural progression. Blah blah blah. Perfect game. Like, in the last 3 years, none.
No, like no, not like a triple A thing. No,
Yeah, it's
like
exactly.
it,
It's three
it
dollars.
just it just scratches that part of like your monkey brain that's like the jewels, get the jewels, precious, my precious.
Well, it's
Like
also
you're
like
just
a
like
game.
that.
Yeah,
Like
it's also a game that you can play to kind of just like relax. Like, you had a
yeah,
terrible day at work. Let me just become a zombie for like an hour, and then
do
you're
like
good.
2-3 runs.
Yeah.
You're done within an hour.
You
It's
don't have to do
satisfying.
anything. Just, one thumb, and you're good.
Yeah,
If you, it's
I
like,
just sat there and just like listened to the music, the little
yeah,
droning music, like
yeah. And like, I zoned out. And like, the first round, I was like, huh? Well, Mercedes
it's
was
like
screaming on
yeah,
playing Halo. I'm over here just zoning out and like having a good, time, vibing out.
yeah, and I think yeah, and even for myself as someone who wants to make games, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna definitely take pointers from this game. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
something like I should study. Like it's
Simple yet
just fun.
effective.
Like I don't know how. Yeah, it's simple. It's effective. I don't know. I keep saying that, but it's just like it just baffles me. For 2.99, this game has given me more enjoyment than
Yeah.
most $60 games have given me in like the past like 5 years.
Yep.
And it's just weird. It's just weird. And I think yeah, I think this just proves that like when people are passionate, people really like the games, and they make a good game. No matter how passionate you are, you still have to make a good game at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, it just seems like when people are passionate about whatever they're doing, it just tends to be a better product.
Yep.
When they know what they're doing. It's very hard to try to, I guess, like encapsulate just like any passion into like a multi-million-dollar project game.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of hard. I mean, it comes through every now and then, but it's just I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe the goal is that, and I've been saying this is like we need to make the game line development pipeline shorter,
Mm-hmm.
and that it needs less people. So
Yep.
because these things get like bloated,
That's what I
right?
was gonna
Like
ask you.
because
Yep.
just like like that's why like 2D is like very easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2D is not very easy if you really want to do like crazy stuff, but it's fairly simple. It's pixels, you can get the job done. If you try to do like 3D modeling, it's a little bit more complicated to rig and do all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
versus just like moving the legs up, like one to the left, one to the right a little bit, and then like
And then repeat for three
and
hours.
you get a little 2-frame animation
Yeah.
versus like trying to rig a whole like running animation. Like it takes a lot more time, and it's just because we demand a lot from our games now,
Mm-hmm.
and so not that we shouldn't. I mean, we're paying $60 for this stuff, 70. But it's just sometimes like you see something like this and it's like that's a game, and then you sit
Yep.
back and you're like, dang, like
This is the
we need
best
to return to
$3.
form. Yeah,
That's,
like I don't know.
it's crazy. I don't know. I think it's because maybe if it's a big project, there's more members, so it's hard to have equal passion across every
Hmm.
single like person. And like this
Yeah,
guy's he like probably made it by himself. It's like that's easy to do. Or like small indie devs, they're
yeah.
like, 3, 4, or 5 people that yeah, that's a lot easier
Hmm.
that they all share that same fire. So I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe small teams are the way of the future. You know?
yeah, and
Take a
we
little bit
just gotta
longer.
find ways to, I guess, make game development a little bit faster, a little bit
Hmm.
quicker. Just I don't know how we would do that.
No
I don't
more
know.
corrupt
It's
leaders.
just some. I mean, yeah, yeah. Like having a good leader definitely helps, but I think maybe we just have to change the scope of games. I guess what we demand from games just has to change. Because, like, to
Hmm.
me, I would rather have worse graphics but better gameplay.
Yep.
But you see, like, when we talk about graphics, I really like aesthetic. Like Castlevania, the first one, I think
Hmm.
has an amazing aesthetic. The graphics, in terms of aesthetic, I like them. It has a
Hmm.
cool, like, theme to it. But realistically, the graphics of it, they're not very good in terms of like you see something like a modern day AAA game. Um, it doesn't hold up as well in terms of graphics, like just
Hmm.
pure. But in terms of aesthetic, I think it beats out. Like even this game right here, Vampire Survivors, I think it still beats out like a lot of AAA games just because it fits the theme well
Yep.
and everything. Like it's pretty good. So yeah, I'm assuming you said your score was like also like an eight and a
Yeah,
half,
like
nine
9, like for sure 9.
for sure,
It'd
nine.
probably be like a
Yeah,
10 out of 10 in like an hour.
yeah,
Because Mercedes
and
played it more than me, so sadly, but
mm,
I liked it. No
but yeah,
complaints.
I would tell anybody to check it out. I mean, it's for free. Like the dude just put it on for free, or you
Yeah,
can buy it. You can help support the guy.
it's $3. Go
Yeah,
buy
I
it.
mean, it's yeah, and it's just crazy that some fan game, essentially, well, not a fan game, I should say, but a game inspired by Castlevania has
Hmm.
done more for Castlevania than what they've done that Konami has done for it. The
Yeah,
Castlevania
do you want to
series.
spend
It's
three
like,
ninety nine on a good game based on,
mm,
influenced by Castlevania, or do you want to go spend
yeah,
$300,000 on a thing you can never hold or play?
yeah.
You make the choice.
It's like, yeah, it's like you want Konami's NFT collection,
Hmm.
or you want like some cool little indie game.
Yeah.
And like it's just I don't know, man. It's just really cool. I always like seeing this kind of stuff because it's just like puts a smile on my face, man. I'm like, oh, okay, there's still people making good games
Yeah.
out there,
Hits you in the
and it's just
feels,
like, oh,
especially nostalgia
yeah,
feels. It's like, classic
yeah. You
gaming.
know what? It hits me like when I'm playing like the old Flash games, like
Hmm.
that addictiveness to them,
Yep.
and then like it's kind of like just the simple like gaming, man. Like when games were just simple, man. You just sit there, relax. I don't know, man. It's just a cool game.
I know.
And it's so fun, like especially when you're like just wrecking all the bats and like the skeletons and you got everything
Oh yeah,
going
but then
on.
when you get that cluster of bats and like it pushes the zombies towards you, and you're like, well, guess I'll die.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's such a good
Oh
game.
man. But yeah. I think that's pretty much it for us
Yep.
today. Any closing thoughts, Van?
I want to play Lost Ark.
Oh yes. So it seems like we'll probably end up playing Lost Ark on our stream.
Stream.
It's gonna yeah, so when is it coming? It's already out, right? So
If you
we'll be
buy it,
playing
it's out, but on the 11th is when it comes out for free.
okay, so we probably playing that Friday of this week.
Yeah.
So that would be the 12th,
Hmm.
February 12th, 2022. Just in case someone's listening to this in the future, but okay.
Nintendo Directs tomorrow and Wednesday,
Ooh,
so maybe we'll probably talk about that Monday.
yeah. So that we'll talk about next week. Okay, and so yeah, but if you want to check out the stream and hang out with us, talk about anything, game related or just really whatever, feel free to check out Past the Pop Culture on we're twitch.tv/past the pop culture. Sorry, I messed that up. Check us out also on YouTube. If you're listening to this on the podcast, the same thing, Past the Pop Culture. If you're listening to this on YouTube, I very much appreciate a like, subscribe. Comment. Let us know what's your thoughts on NFTs. Should they be in games? Should they not be in games? Have you tried out Vampire Survivors? What is your thoughts on it? And just pretty much anything you want to add into a little bit of input, a little bit of conversation. I like reading the comments whenever we get them occasionally.
Yeah, challenge
And
Ricky.
then yeah, make me look bad that I don't
Yeah.
know anything.
I'm the
And,
gamer. He's
yeah.
the smart one.
So you gotta bring me down a peg. But yeah, and I'll go play some Vampire Survivors after this. Maybe I think that's
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do.
Sounds good to me.
So yeah, and also follow our Instagram on we're at Past Pop Culture, and also our Twitter, same thing, Past Pop Culture, and we usually let people know on there just highlights, clips, and let people know that we're going live. This episode is not live, unfortunately. There was just some time
Things.
management we got to look at. Yeah, things going on in the on our lives. So typically we do this live every Monday, 3 o'clock.
Yep.
Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to come in and join in on the conversation live, feel free. But thank you for listening to my terrible ramblings today. I'm Ricky with my co-host Mr. Fenn. We're past the pop culture and we're signing off. Thanks for listening.
Peace.